Hey everybody, I am ARMR, and what I watched today is Reboot, Season 2, Episode 8, Gigabyte. Our episode begins pretty much where the last one ended, with Reboot addressing something you never or rarely ever see in Power Rangers or Sentai. The cleanup and rebuilding that comes after the giant monster battles. I mean, they can't all happen in the abandoned warehouse district, and we need to rebuild some of that infrastructure. We also check in on Bob, who's looking after a very weak Hex. Our characters begin to realize that whatever attacked Hex is still out there, and this is solved in short order as the infected Megabyte shows up and attempts to absorb Hex, leading to kind of a fun revelation for the main characters and something that we, the audience, have already gotten hints of. The fact that Megabyte and Hex are brother and sister. Our exposition over, Megs catches up to them and meets his goal, merging with Hex. Moments later, we get our first look at the titular virus. I love it. A fusion of Hex and Megs that just seems a bit heavy on the Megabyte side, but does like this great job of incorporating elements of each. It's possible that the reason it skews more towards Megabyte's side would be because he was overtaken by that black thing, and the one who initiated the fusion, thus making him, the dominant side. Bob hopes he can simply talk to the virus, like he would Hex, and Enzo attempts a joke.
What? Benign? Sure, you can tell that just by looking at him.
You can?
I do love Andrea in that scene, just for her innocence and lack of understanding. What is this sarcasm? I don't get it. It's moments later that we learn that Bob has a badge number as a Guardian, 452. There are at least 400 and some other Guardians in the net or whatever. That's kind of awesome. Which he states as he approaches the new virus, hoping to learn its function. I'll let the virus speak for itself because this is an awesome little scene.
I am become Gigabyte, destroyer of systems.
Gotta love a villain who has clear goals. We find out that, Gigabyte is serious as Bob panics, sending out a net-wide alert calling for backup from other Guardians. Not only is this Class 5 strong, but if left unchecked, it could open a portal to the net all on its own. Apparently that's something that Hex can do and just decides not to. And now that, Megabyte is combined with Hex, this new virus has her higher functions, but doesn't have the energy to access them. And that's what a lot of the rest of the episode is trying to keep this guy from enough energy. The city is powered down in an attempt to contain the Gigabyte, or at least slow it down, which creates a tense situation where Bob and Dot are cornered by him in an alley, and in true horror monster style, the beast advances on them, grinding its claws along the walls and moves inexorably closer. Oof, that is an awesome scene. I love just how it is animated, how it's staged, how it's paced. Even the music is just so good. Just as it looks like our heroes are about to become Virus Chow, they're saved by the one and only Mouse, a character I very much adore. She's strong, smart, spunky, and fiercely independent. Plus, how many can take off Virus's arm with a single sword strike? Okay, granted, she's probably the only one in Mainframe who has an actual sword, but my point still stands. It's kind of fun to see Dot acting jealous, though a little odd since we'll see Bob seems oblivious to Mouse's flirting. And, having another woman around kind of seems preferable to death. I do love that Mouse just hacks her way into the principal office. She completely overrides Fong's security in his attempts to keep her out. And I feel like Bob's got a bit of a blind spot here. I mean, Mouse just happened to be on her way to Mainframe and was able to hack into the principal office of all places on a whim. Here, she has some other motive. I mean, this is Mouse we're talking about. Anyway, once inside and safe, our characters start arguing over their best course of action as Gigabyte roams Mainframe looking for energy. They do indeed come up with a plan, hitting Gigabyte with a tear taken from the energy sea that surrounds the main island. And as is typical with these shows, Mouse and Dot end up working together. After all, it's a two-sprite job lassoing a tear. At this point, I pretty much assumed that Dot and Mouse would end up respecting each other by the end of the episode. It's that classic trope. Two people are at each other's throat. They disagree and have different methods and styles. And now they're forced to work together. They'll find things to like about each other, whether they like it or not. But while they do that, Bob gets to work keeping Gigabyte occupied and trying to draw him to a safe spot to use the tear. It's a really cool scene, and Bob gets this really awesome armor. I just love it. It's well done, and we even get a kind of interesting twist here as Hack and Slash pop up to help Bob against Gigabyte, apparently wanting to get their boss back from inside that monster. Which is pretty awesome. They may be viral minions, but they are really loyal to Megabyte. And given that their own icons don't look like viral ones, they seem to have their own free will. They're just kind of stupid and seem to adore Megabyte for some reason. Go figure. As Bob's stuff is going pretty well, we return to the gals. Apparently Mouse's ship has this little platform controlled by a gamepad. And it bears a striking resemblance to a PS1 controller, so I really love that little touch there. As I predicted, Mouse almost bites it, but is saved by Dot, thus fulfilling the mutual respect building moment required by the trope. They are now at least neutral to each other. Yeah, at least. Back with Bob, Slash mucks up the plan, knocking Gigabyte back into the city despite Bob's attempts to separate him from the mainland, which actually included separating off an entire section of mainframe. That is really cool. I did not know the principal office could do that. I mean, other than situations like this, it's kind of hard to figure out how it would do it or why they would need to do that. But it kind of reminds me of how with a hard drive you create partitions. So they can separate sectors from the main drive, as it were. And that's why I love that mainframes organized in sort of a circle, because it reminds me of a hard drive. And yeah, back on the mainland, Gigabyte wastes no time in attacking the principal office, draining its shields, but fortunately Enzo, Andrea, and Frisket are there to slow him down, giving the adults time to, race back to get their plan into action. Gotta love how much of a Deus Ex canine Frisket can often be. I mean, more often than not, he's the only thing keeping Enzo's butt in one piece. I love that dog. He's just awesome. But, yeah, he's a bit of a plot device, really. Bob's plan goes off without a hitch, though. But it does include a worrying side effect.
3?
The third portal. Now Bong and Fong are fully alerted, hopefully to the fact that there is something else behind the scenes. This episode ends with a zoom in on Mouse's bracer as she activates some button. And yeah, it's another indication that Mouse knows way more about what's going on than she's letting on. Is she a double agent? Is she here to help or to cause more problems? Guess we'll find out later. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.